In a large worksheet like the one you have in front of you, data typically extends across many columns and rows. Within so much data, it's easy for an error to occur in the formula or in a function. This often happens because after you create a formula or function in a cell, you then make changes to some part of the worksheet that affects the formula or function in a cell far away, and thus you might not notice the mistake. Other times you might leave a formula incomplete because you tend to finish it later and then forget about it. For these reasons, Excel has the capability to automatically search for and identify all errors in the current worksheet. It's the same logic as spell checking. Just as you might overlook spelling errors in a large document, so you might overlook errors in formulas or functions in a large worksheet. Before I start the error checking, I will select cell A1. The error checking starts from the selected cell and moves to the right and down. Therefore, if I had selected another cell, all the cells that are to the left and above it would not be checked. I will now go to the Formulas tab, and in the Formula Auditing palette, I will open the Error Checking tool and click on Error Checking here. What happens now is a check across the entire worksheet, and as soon as a problem is detected, it offers me information about the problem found, possible solutions, and generally the ability to address it so I can correct it before moving on. Although an error checking window is open, I can still work normally on the worksheet and return to the error checking window whenever I want, something that you may need to do several times. Let me show you how this works. I will click on cell A1, so now the options in the window are disabled, and I can only click the resume button. If I want to continue from the window, I will click resume and the options are reactivated. The error detected here is inconsistent formula. This means that Excel found that compared to the adjacent cells, cell E19 is in which the problem was found does not have a corresponding formula. Notice in the formula bar that the cell E19 sums up the cells from E5 to E15. Everything is fine with this, there is no problem. I will click on cell D19, and here it tells me that it sums up the cells from D5 to D18. I will click on F19, and here too it sums up the cells from F5 to F18. It's most likely that I made a mistake, and in E18 I do not sum up all the cells up to E18, but only up to E15. I meant in cell E19 I did not sum up all the cells up to E18. If for some reason I wanted this and there is no error here, there is the ignore error button that I can click to move on. However, since there is actually a problem here, I will click resume and then edit in the formula bar. I will change E15 to E18 and press enter. Here I want you to notice that by pressing enter I moved to the next cell below. This means that the error checking will continue from here onwards. Therefore, the intermediate cells will not be checked. For this reason, it is a good practice not to press enter when making a correction like this, but to use the confirmation button in the formula bar. I will show this in the next error. For now, I will click resume again. And now you see it took me to the next error because it understood that I solved the previous one. Here I have the invalid name error, which is the well-known name error you saw in a previous lesson. Observing the formula bar, I see that cell I43 is incorrectly written, so I will click on the formula bar, enter the correct reference, which is I43 in this case, and then click the confirmation button on the formula bar. Now I remained in the same cell, so the error checking will continue normally from here downwards. It's important to remember this when you are performing error checking. I will now click resume, and if it takes me to another error, this means that I resolved the previous one. Here in this cell, I also have a problem with a name, and I will click edit in the formula bar. I will replace the Greek Omicron that is here with an English O, and then I will click the confirmation button on the formula bar and resume. Now here I have a divide by zero error. to correct this, I need to know what I intended to do, which is in my own worksheet. I would know before because I created myself. What I wanted to do here is to calculate the average by dividing the total for the month, which is in cell C91 by 12. But obviously, I mistakenly put a 0 here. I will click edit in the formula bar, replace the 0 with 12. Click the confirmation button and then resume. Now a message appears indicating that the error checking is complete, so I know there are no other errors that Excel can automatically detect. I will click OK here and then press Ctrl Home on the keyboard to move to cell A1. Now I will click the error checking tool again to bring up the same window, ensuring everything is alright. The reason I did this is related to the enter key I pressed during the first formula correction. With that enter, I skipped some cells because I moved to the one below and I wasn't sure if there was an error in the cells in between. It's a good practice to do this, so keep in mind to perform an error check after you have finished with all the errors just to make sure none are left. I will click OK here and explain a bit about what I said earlier, that is, there are no other errors that Excel can automatically detect. With error checking, you cannot detect logical errors. I will scroll down to cell C92, which I previously corrected to calculate the average. I will open the cell, change 12 to 11, and I will press enter here. Now I'm not in the error checking process, so pressing enter is fine. I will press Ctrl Home to go to the top of the worksheet and click on the error checking tool. As before, I received the message that there are no errors. From Excel's perspective, dividing by 11 instead of 12 to get the average is something that it cannot detect because it is a logical error. It's not an error that prevents the calculation from happening or does not give me a result. It's just a result that I didn't intend, and Excel cannot know about that. You saw, of course, that the error checking was able to detect the logical error in the calculation of the sum in cell E19, but this was an exception. Usually, I must solve logical errors myself. Apart from checking formulas in Excel, I can also perform a spell check using the same logic as in Word. I will press Ctrl Home on the keyboard to ensure that I am at the first cell of the worksheet, and then go to the Review tab. And in the proofing palette, I will click the spelling button. I go through the cases one by one, just like the spell checking Word. Here, obviously, July is misspelled, and in the suggestions list below, there is the correct one, so I will click on it. And then I will click the change button to make the correction. Also for the word payroll, the first suggestion that is already selected is correct, so I will click change here to without changing the selection, and now the spell check is completed. The main job of Excel is to produce results from the data you give it. If you have made any errors in your formulas and functions, then the results you get will be incorrect, resulting in cancelling all of your work. Therefore, before using any worksheet, it is crucial to perform a check of the formulas to be more certain that you have addressed all the issues that Excel can detect. Additionally, the spell check is very important because Excel does not have any automatic spell check as you write, so you can easily make a mistake there. Besides the fact that it is not nice to present a worksheet with spelling errors, the mistake could even affect the functionality of the worksheet because it might not be clear to the person you are giving it how you have organized the data or the results. Therefore, checking formulas and spelling errors is the last stage before you print your worksheet or send it to someone else to review. That's all for this lesson. Thank you for watching.